Hey, it's Rich, the Louisiana Hobby Guy. Today's video we're going to be talking about modifying a laser bed template. And if you're a subscriber, you've probably seen the video called Creating a Laser Bed Template for Production Runs. And in some of the other platforms, I've had requests to create another video showing how to modify that template. So what we're going to do in this video is do exactly that. So I'm going to open that file, and that's called the 4-inch template that I have for free download. If you haven't seen that video, you should probably watch that one first, called Creating a Laser Bed Template for Production Runs. And it has 3 templates to download. And in all of my files that I have for download, I have a lot of my cuts, a lot of my speeds and my feeds and things like that in the notes section. That'll open up when you first open the file. If you want to get back to it again after you're in the file, all you have to do is click File, come over here to Show Notes, and that'll pop it back up again. So this is the original file I had for download. And I'm going to get, well, let me explain this first. This outside border is our frame for our workpiece. And in the original video, let me get rid of all of this, because we're not going to need this in this one. We're going to be changing it. So in the original video, I show you how to create and burn this onto your wasteboard all the way around. You really only need from here to here. You need to line up just one factory edge of a piece of cardboard on this line here that you've burned into your wasteboard, and then you can make tons of templates. Right now I have about 14 different templates. And all I do is line the template up here. I have some nano stickies that I got off of Amazon that I put on the back of the cardboard, and then I just affix it to the workbed. So once the cardboard is lined up in these 2 corners, I press down on my stickies. I usually put about 8 stickies on the back of the cardboard so I know it's not going to move. And that's it. And it's ready to either burn out the new template or drop in coasters or rounds or whatever and get to work on production. So let's start with this old template, the 4-inch template cutout, and we'll grab an ellipse over here. I'm going to press down Shift, draw out a perfect circle like so. Now I know that these cork coasters that I'm going to use today are represented as 100 millimeters. They're really 99 millimeters when I measure them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here. I'm going to put this at 100 and press enter, just so that I have a little extra space for the kerf, the cutout. So with that done, what I need to do now is set up the production. I'm going to come down over here to create an array. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to create 3 columns, and just by hitting the up arrow, and 3 rows like so, and say OK. Now I have my 3 columns and 3 rows. I will drag over these and I will put those on the 00 layer. Now I'm going to cut these out. So in order to cut these out, I know that on my laser, I'm going to come up here to the power. I know that on my laser, I'm going to need 400 speed, 90% power, constant power mode, and it has to be in line mode. And the number of passes is going to be 2. That will give me sort of a clean cut. Well, maybe not a perfectly clean cut, but pretty close to it. Your laser is going to be different now. I'm using the Ortur Laser Master 2 20 watt, but my machine has lots and lots of hours on it. So the laser itself is a consumable, and it gets weaker over time, and mine has gotten weaker. So I have to do at least 2 or 3 passes to cut through the cardboard at this speed. I'm going to do 2 because I don't want to burn up the edges. You know, on the y-axis, it's going to cut it perfectly because it's a rectangular shaped diode. But on the x-axis, it's going to burn the edges. So I'll just do 2 passes, and then I'll use my X-Acto knife and just trim them out. It only takes a couple minutes to trim them out for me anyway. yours might cut all the way through. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm absolutely confident that this is going to work perfectly. It's going to cut these out perfectly because I have these two corners lined up on my cardboard. I have a new sheet of cardboard in. Now I'm just going to send this over to the laser and get these cut out. So let's come over here to laser, and what I like to always do is just hit home and then watch the title bar up here, make sure everything is okay. If I come to the console, you see everything's okay, so we're good to go. Now I've already cut these out, so now what I have to do is take and select them all and turn them into a tool path. So I'm going to come down here and put them on T1. Now there's no output. If we come back to cuts and layers, you see up here, there's no output. And we're ready to start bringing in our artwork. So I've got a bunch of regular coasters in here that I want to burn. So I will bring a few of them in. We'll do some coffee stuff. We'll do this butt first. And yeah, that's good. Go ahead and make it a little bit smaller, and then if I grab it here, I'm just going to move it till it snaps to the middle. See it snap right in there? Okay, so that one's first. And we're going to do another butt first. Move it off over here. Scale it down to size. Snap it in the middle, like so. So now we've got two of them. Coffee time. I'll double click that. Bring this one up here. It'll snap right into the middle like so. I guess it doesn't matter. I'll just grab whatever we got. Snap it to the middle. Grab the corner. Press down on control. Scale it on all sides. Like so. Coffee break. Wake up. Grab that one. Bring it up here. Snap it to the middle. If I can find that snap. So that looks about good right there. So we'll come down to this one, bring this one in. This one snaps. Hold down control, scale it by size. That one's good to go. This one next. Bring it in here. This one here. Next. Drop that in like so. Scale it down a little bit. Coffee shill. And do this one. I think I already did this one, but whatever. We'll just go ahead and do it again. Snap that one in there. And you know, that's how quickly this one is sort of off over here. So I've got to make this one smaller because it's outside the circle. Or you know what? I think what I'll do is I'll delete those two. I'm going to ungroup this. I'm going to delete that one and delete this one. So let's go ahead and group this back together. Bring it back over here. And that's fine. Right there. Now it fits in the circle. Okay, so this is all ready to go. For my settings, this is wild, crazy, no good. This is cork, so we're going to go about 1450 and maybe 35% power. And I think we're going to put this in fill mode. Say OK. And yep, that looks good in fill mode, just like that. 1450, 35% power. Now, if you're wondering how I get the preview without having to come up here and preview, okay, if you come over here to window, this is wireframe smooth is the default setting in Lightburn, and then you can preview and see how it's going to come out. But it uses a little more system resources, but I have a really powerful computer, so I'm not too worried about it. So I just put it in filled course, and that gives me a preview as I'm actually working, so I don't ever have to come up here except to take a look at the estimated time. And we say OK, And I am pretty confident in my template, or I don't have to do any framing or anything like that. Let's take a look at the laser bed, and I've got all of my corks fitted into the, and this came out really nice, by the way. You have to give them a little push to get them in, and that was just perfect. So I feel really confident that this is going to burn okay. And let's come over here to the laser, and I always like to hit the home button to make sure that I'm home before I start a job. And let me just take a preview and see how this is going to burn. And that is probably the way I want it. That's perfect. So we're just going to go ahead and hit start. Now this is an old HP webcam, so it has a really bad picture. So you have to sort of bear with the quality here. It's not the greatest, but I don't have $150 for a 4K webcam. But I am pretty confident that this is going to work just perfectly because I've done a ton of these before. I may have set my power a little bit too high, but I think it'll be okay in the long run. So we'll just go ahead and let this run, and I'll speed it up a little bit, and then I'll be back. All right, well, there we go. These are the first three. I don't think I'm going to sit here for the rest of the burn. I'm just going to close the camera for now and pick up where we left off. And some of you are probably wondering why I have my speed set so low. So I set my speed to 1450 and 35 power. And the reason for that is because I want this dark burn without cutting into the coaster. So that's why I have this set so slow and so low. One of the things that you'll find if you look around on the other platforms like Facebook and the discussion groups and so on is people running this at 4, 5, 6,000 speed and up in the power to like 50 on the cork. And yeah, you can do that. That's fine. But when you go to sell these and you deliver them to a customer and they use them a couple of times, they're just going to wash out. They're not going to look good. And trust me, I've done this myself. The first batch of cork coasters that I made for myself when I was testing all different materials when I first got a laser, you know, it faded out pretty quickly. So I figured out right away that you need to go slow and low, sort of like barbecue when you're doing smoking a chicken. Slow and low is the way to go here, folks. And the biggest trick that I have in my bag is when these are finished, I'm going to bring them over to the sink and I'm going to spray them down with a spray bottle just to mist them down with water. And what that does is it causes the soot to stain into the cork. Now, a lot of people wash them off really quickly to get rid of the soot, and That's the wrong thing to do. You got to spray them, mist them with water, not get them soaking wet, just mist them with water to get them wet. And don't put any rag on it whatsoever. Let it dry just the way it is. And sometimes I'll even mist it a second time, and I'll just leave them in the sink overnight until they dry. And that stains the cork, and you don't have to worry about this fading. So these are some of the best coasters that you're going to see anywhere done in cork, simply because they won't fade. And that's a great trick. If you're going to make cork coasters, you really want to make sure that you stain that soot in there before you do a finish wash on them and deliver them to a customer. And you'll see, once you wash them, when you're finished, after they're stained, they're going to look absolutely fabulous. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this window for now. And we can keep working in Lightburn. It doesn't affect it because the G-code has already been sent to the console. So it's not going to affect it at all. And one of the things I forgot to do, which I'll probably regret now because a lot of these are not grouped, is save this file. Yeah, see, that one's not grouped. So I forgot to save this file before I added my graphics. So now I'm going to have to go through here and get rid of all of the layers and so forth, and all these little pieces. Hopefully a couple of them are grouped, but I don't want to hit that outside line because it'll delete that. This one is grouped. Okay, that's great. And this one is grouped as well. Terrific. Okay, doing much better now. This one is too. Okay, this one is not. But not a big deal. We'll go ahead and get rid of them piece by piece. Oh, and see, that's what I didn't want to do, so I'll use the red line instead. There we go. So if I drag from the right side, the green line will select everything. But if I drag from the right side, you have to encompass the entire graphic for it to be selected, like so. And see, that didn't even do it. You have to get the whole thing inside the box to select it. But from over here, you just have to touch it. All right. So this is the final step, and this should have been our first step before we brought our graphics in. We're going to save this as, now you see I have 4-inch template cutout. I'm just going to change the name to template production, and we're going to change this from 4-inch to 100 millimeter. 100 millimeter template production, and that's not a cutout, and that's good to go now. So now we have that template. I'm going to include the template in a link down below. You can download it and use it to your heart's desire. So that's it. That's how simple it is. I'll put up a couple of pictures now of the coasters so you can see the final version, and that's going to be tomorrow because I'm going to mist them down, get the soot to soak in, wash them off, and get them all ready to photograph. And I sell these. Now these are just standard ones. I'm not doing custom graphics. But if I were doing custom graphics to add them to your art library, well, we can slide over all that. Just hit Shift and unselect that one. And all you have to do is come over here and click on Import Graphic from Project once it's completely selected. There we go. And let's just go ahead and group that so we don't have any more problems. But now we could just take this graphic, click Import Graphic from Project, and it'll be in your art library in here with all of your other coasters. If you haven't learned how to set up your art library, I have another video on that. Just go to my channel, go under videos, and you'll find it there. So that's it. It's done. This is how you do production runs. Now mine take a little longer, like I said, because I like to deliver a quality product to my customers. But you know, if you're one of those people that needs to do everything quick, well, then have at it. You know, you can do it a lot more quickly. You're not going to get the same really professional results. It may take a little longer, but you know what? Letting the laser do its work. I have a remote camera, so I just, you know, watch it from afar, and I don't worry about it. I do other things while the laser is burning, so it doesn't take up any more of my time to do it slower. So low and slow is the way to go. 14, 50, 35 on cork, and you will have a fantastic product like you see here. I hope this video helped you out. Thank you for watching.